So, so with me today, I've got Rachel. Honest, I have. She's here, but we're having issues with the tech really. So, I'll just put a picture of Rachel, but she's definitely there. We will speak to her in a minute. So, so, so Rachel, thank you for joining me today. So I don't know much about you. You've left a few comments on my video, so I've got little snippets of your life. I know that you're sober now. So my first question to you is, what brought you to the point of getting sober? Because obviously, in Western culture, alcohol is a massive part of that, isn't it? And
Yeah.
stop drinking, to make the decision to stop drinking is quite a big thing in some ways. So, what brought you to that point of stopping?
Okay, so I'm 58 now, and I stopped. I think I was 54. It was a week before my birthday, and I was either 54 or 53. I can't remember, but I think at 54, I think. But what brought me to that point was by the time I got to that point, I was drinking every weekend, Friday to Sunday. I was binge drinking, so that's what they call it, isn't it? When you drink more than a certain amount of units.
Yeah.
And I was certainly doing more than that. And I was really struggling not to drink on Friday. So I used to come home on the bus from work. This is a sad story. Come home from the bus from work, and I would have this mental fight with myself not to stop off and get a bottle of wine on my way home. And it would be, well, it's Friday. Well, you know how you're going to feel in the morning. Do you really want this? But it's what else have I got? And it was, literally, I think it was pretty much like, what else is there? Like if
Yep.
I don't have a drink, what else is there? And I mean, I live alone. I've lived alone for years. My son is, at the time, my son, was he living here? Yeah, I think he was here because he was back from university and he's working. Oh no, maybe he'd moved out at that point because he's away at the moment. He's in Thailand at the moment. But
Nice.
and so I was basically on my own with my cats, and I didn't really have anything else. And I think at the end it was such a struggle. It was such a fight not to get that bottle of wine. I used to give in. By the time the bus got to the bus stop, I was at the off license. It was just one of those things. But I felt like shit. And so all weekend I would feel like shit, and I would just like be either hungover or pissed, but not that kind of happy pissed, just groggy pissed, and then having a hair of a dog. And then till Monday came, and then I'd be back at work, and I didn't drink when I worked. I used to be getting over my hangover Monday, Tuesday, and by Wednesday I used to feel great and had my energy back. So the best I ever felt was on a Wednesday at work, which was really sad in itself. And I would be reflecting, well, I worked really hard all week and I got the weekend and I just spend it drinking or feeling like shit. And then I really remember feeling bored. This is boring. It's really boring. What the hell? But then comes with that when you start to think, I want to do something about it. You think then you're struggling. Well, can I do something about this?
Uh-huh.
Like can't stop myself drinking on a Friday. So can I really stop drinking? And then starts the big journey. But I must say, coming up to that point, there were times over the years that I had, stopped for a certain amount of weeks or, questioned it. But I always went back to drinking as well. And I tried to cut down, all sorts of things, all the tricks that you try
Yeah.
that don't work.
Mm.
And but that week, like before, just coming up to my birthday, or around about that time, I no, this time I really want to do something about it, and that's when I did, yeah. But I was really low on it, and I was having anxiety at the workplace. There was one thing I used to do, and I caught myself doing it. I thought, oh my God, Rachel, what's happened to you? But I'd be at work and I'd suddenly go, oh. And, and that sounds, can you hear that, Coral? And it was like a big, like sigh. I used to be sighing all the time. And it was like a stressful anxiety sigh. And I
Right.
think, why are you doing that? It's really weird. It's really old baggish. Like, but I realized it was all tied in with the drinking. And I just thought, what am I, what's becoming of me, sort of thing. So,
Uh-huh.
yeah, that's where I was. So you have to stop me rambling, Coral.
Well, okay, so it sounds like drinking was the only thing you felt you had in life. You went to work, you came home Friday, and it was like that battle. I understand that battle. I've had that battle, and but it wasn't making you happy. It wasn't giving you that well, whatever you thought it might give you. And I think that's the case with alcohol. It doesn't. But we're so brainwashed into thinking that
Yeah,
it's going to make us feel good and give us a good time that we just keep
yeah,
doing it anyway. So,
yeah.
yeah. So, what was your lowest point with your drinking then?
I think that really much was my lowest point. So in my past, I've been put myself in very dangerous situations through alcohol, being with people that didn't have my best interests at heart due to alcohol, being in relationships that were really abusive and bad, and alcohol being playing a big part in that. But when I got to this point, this was probably the lowest I felt. And I do remember because I had bought this cottage in Hungary, and hence that's when I talked to you online. I'm a Hungarian cottage person,
Yes.
and I had noticed like lots of things. So it was a dream of mine to have a place, some land, a place of my own. And I finally got it. And it's such a beautiful place in Hungary that I have. But I realized that when I visited it, the first thing I did when I walked through the door was open a bottle of wine. And I was thinking, this is mad, like this is your dream, and you're having having a drink. It was just all these things all kind of came together, and maybe it was a bit about my age as well, like being early 50s. You start to realize that maybe you've only got another 20 years, 25, 30 years left, and you start really like thinking, oh, what am I going to do with this time that I've only got left? Life starts to get very precious,
Yes.
and time and everything like that. So I think that it really was my rock bottom, was those times. And it's so interesting. It's like, because when I stopped, my niece actually said to me, but Auntie, I've never seen you drunk. And I said, it's so interesting because I wasn't getting like that hilarious drunk that you do when you're a kid, like when you're young. I wasn't having that. But I said, we had been out recently. It was my son's birthday, and it was in the lockdown when you could go out but sit outside, and there
Yeah.
was all these rules and stuff like that. So I booked this table that we were allowed to go and sit and drink for 2 hours at. And I said, but to my niece, I said, but before I got there, Beanie, because that's what we call her, Beanie, I said, I drank a bottle of wine before I met you. And then I had the drinks when I was with you. And then when I left, I came home and had another bottle of wine. And she was like, oh, like, but so people didn't see this, didn't see me rolling in the gutter, but I was so controlled at that point by alcohol. Once I'd had the one drink, that was it. I'm not going to stop until I'm asleep or, comatose, really. I was probably, so brain dead. I was asleep, it wasn't a natural sleep. But
No, no.
so I guess that was my rock bottom. Yeah, was my rock bottom.
So that is quite a lot of alcohol. I mean, you said about
Yeah,
binging. I mean, that's two bottles plus your drinks while you're out. So
yeah,
that's quite a lot of alcohol, isn't it?
it's a
But
lot.
but
Yeah,
it wasn't obvious to those around you.
no, not at all.
You must have built up a tolerance, I suppose.
Yeah,
So I mean, you've talked about your rock bottom, and it was more the um just being in that emotional kind of well unhappiness really with your life, it
yeah,
seems.
yeah,
So not in the gutter, like
yeah,
it's a stereotype, isn't it? But
yeah.
just feeling really unhappy with your life and seeing that alcohol was not contributing. And even getting your lovely cottage, because it is
Mm,
beautiful. I've watched some of your videos.
okay.
Um, I was thinking, oh, I've got to have some wine because we just bring wine into, well, wine, alcohol into every situation, don't we? Like, oh, it's
Yeah,
going to add something. It's like, why do we need to when the situation, the experience is good enough as it is, isn't it? We don't
yeah,
need to
no.
bring alcohol in. Did alcohol cause any issues with? I mean, you talked about relationships and like abusive relationships. Was that, well, that was your drinking
Mm.
that contribute? Well, I say contributed.
Yeah.
You were drinking, but was the other person drinking as well? So was it?
Funny enough, funny enough, no.
Oh,
I
really?
Yeah, it's so weird. It was weird thinking about it today. Is my son's father, he didn't drink, and my last relationship, he didn't drink, but I drank. So it's like I kind of allowed things to happen because I was drunk, and they could do things because I was drunk. When I say things, like they could, not treat me with respect,
Yeah,
basically,
yeah.
and they weren't doing anything really. They weren't, I don't know, doing anything really, really violent.
No.
But I did have one partner, and he did drink. That's when I was about 18. He was actually my best friend's father, which is not a good thing. And I was thinking, would if I hadn't been drinking then, would I have been in that relationship? And the answer is no, I wouldn't have done. So because of my drinking, I ended up having a relationship with my best friend's father. So that was nothing to be proud of or feel great about. But he did become very violent, and he broke my nose actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but I was drunk when he broke my nose, but he wasn't.
But then that's using alcohol, as I have done, to make things seem, well, to make things seem better, but it kind of, because it numbs us to that extent, we
Yeah.
do put up with things, don't we? It does keep you in situations, doesn't it, that are not good.
Yeah, definitely. It
Um,
does, because it numbs us, it desensitizes us.
yes.
So we're not feeling these sort of extreme feelings that you would if you were with somebody who treated you that badly, or was that, that not, I don't know, like some of my relationships, I just think, I mean, I tried to get, I think, did I get back with that guy? I got back with that guy after he broke my nose. Like you just wouldn't do that if you weren't on the sauce. You just wouldn't do things like that. I certainly wouldn't do anything like that now. I would now. I've got so much more self respect and self worth. I love myself now. Then I didn't. I didn't love myself, and so I just allowed things to happen. And I did things, stupid things, horrible things as well. So yeah, definitely, it was definitely not a good time. And I did go for a long period in my life of not really drinking, like with my son's father. And when my son was very little, I didn't drink at all. Then I was very sort of like, focused on him. But it wasn't until he was about 3 or 4 and I'd split up with my son's father that I started drinking again, from, like after being in my early 20s sort of thing. There was like a big period, like probably about 7 years I didn't really drink.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
So, would you say that maybe loneliness or boredom has been a trigger for you? Or is it just because it's there?
I'm not lonely, so I'm not a lonely person.
No.
Even though I love to be alone, that's one thing I found out about myself after stopping drinking, is that I'm not. I'm quite introverted.
Yes.
Even though people would think, God, she's not introverted, but it's a bit of a play act when I'm around people.
Yeah.
I'm obviously around people. I'm a teacher, so I'm around people a lot in the workplace, and you wouldn't necessarily think that I'm not a particularly shy person, but I just don't really like. I'm not that comfortable around sort of groups of people more than three. I'm better one-on-one sort of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what, it's just something I haven't really thought about, but I noticed after I stopped drinking. And I think it was, I don't know what it was with the drinking. I just didn't think, I think that obviously I'd become quite dependent on alcohol because I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop myself having those Friday, starting the whole cycle off on a Friday. So there was that, because I mean, it's addictive. Alcohol is addictive.
Very much.
And by that point, I was having, even though that story with my niece was a bit of a one-off, I wouldn't necessarily have 2 bottles of wine plus 2 drinks in a
Okay.
session of
No,
drinking.
no.
But on the Friday, I was at that point buying a bottle of wine and also getting 2 other drinks, whatever they were. Like, so they used to get like those cans of like, I don't know, whatever it is, Jack Daniels and Coke or something.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I would have, because I knew that 1 bottle wasn't enough. And I didn't want to end up having to go out and getting another bottle. And I didn't want to get another bottle because I didn't want to end up drinking 2 bottles. So I used to get a bottle of wine and 2 of those drinks in a can, which is
Yeah.
ridiculous now when I think about it. But yeah, so I mean, I was drinking a hell of a lot. I mean, God, it was pretty awful. God knows what it was doing to my inside. Oh, I don't know. I don't know how it all recovers, how long it all takes to recover, if it can recover. I think brain cells don't grow back, do they? So all the brain cell damage, that's it, it's done. I know.
I know. I mean, my memory is shocking,
Yeah,
and I think is that alcohol, as alcohol kill those
could
memory
be.
cells.
Yeah, could be.
Because it, like I say, it's poison is alcohol, isn't it? It's a highly addictive and it's poisonous. And
Yeah,
when you're doing it well, for me, every day, vodka every day for
yeah,
long periods of time, then it's not doing anything good, is it? Let's be honest.
yeah.
Um,
Do you know what the one thing, Coral, that will say that what started me from not drinking anymore was taking the focus off of me, because I always used to think there was something wrong with me because I drank more than everybody else, or once I started drinking I couldn't stop, or I was the person who used to drink all night and get up and have a hair of a dog what other people were vomiting. There was something wrong with me and I was a failure in this. And even all, like, I did achieve things in my life, but I still felt a failure because I couldn't stop drinking. And I stopped looking at it like that and started to really examine what was alcohol
mm,
and what was it supposed to be and how was it sold to us, and how, what's all the myths around alcohol. I started my focus on that, and that changed everything for me, you know. Like, once I did that, I started to not feel a failure anymore, and
okay.
there was a definite shift. And I think it's quite a good idea, because I think a lot of the focus, like maybe in AA as well, because I never did go to AA, but a lot of the focus is about you having to overcome your traumas and your, and all of the things, and how we're supposed to cover it up with the alcohol. But my traumas and my things that have happened to me in my life haven't gone away because I've stopped drinking.
No.
It's just now I'm far better equipped to deal with them as they arise. It's easier now. Life is so much simpler and easier. And I'm sure you feel that as well, because you haven't drunk for quite a few months now, have you? So
7 months.
I bet you're feeling like life is, I'm sure, do you feel like life is a lot simpler now if you take alcohol out of it?
For sure, for sure. I
Yeah,
mean, it doesn't just suddenly miraculously make life absolutely fantastic, because
yeah,
there is underlying issues with me and with lots of people, and it's you just start to look at those things and deal with them, I suppose, when you stop drinking, but not having to think about alcohol, not waking up with anxiety, not thinking, oh, when am I going to have a drink? And oh, I didn't do that, did I? I didn't say that. And you know, having all that. Of course, it's much simpler without all that. Yeah,
yeah.
sure.
So
Yeah.
a lot of trauma has gone already just by not drinking. It's just like it just feels so much better. And then all the shame I felt when I drank and the things that I did when I was drunk, I don't feel anymore,
No.
because I see alcohol in a different way.
Yeah.
Because I see that I was being abused by alcohol in lots of ways, rather than me being, you know, the protagonist of the abuser, if you like.
Yeah.
I don't know, it did really change it for me, and I think that helped me really stop. And I haven't looked back since since then, really. I would never drink again, never. And I have no, I don't want to either. I never want to drink again, ever.
Well,
Even if you held me down and tried to put a drink in my mouth, I would fight. I would fight to make sure that didn't go into my mouth.
but
I
you've really,
despise.
sorry, you've really overcome it then, haven't you? You've
Oh,
overcome it.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
And that is because of the way you're viewing alcohol. Because, like you
Yeah,
say, with AA, the focus is on you as the individual, that there's a weakness within you as the
yeah,
individual.
yeah.
It says, oh, you've got an allergy to alcohol. When the fact
That's
is,
crazy. Yeah,
alcohol is really addictive,
yeah,
and anybody can become addicted.
yeah,
Um, and of course, all the marketing. I
yeah,
mean, it's billions, trillions is spent on marketing and making it seem like you've got to have alcohol. It's fantastic. It's going to make
yeah,
life so much better. And we're
yeah,
brainwashed. I mean, from tiny, really, because we see it all around us from being
yeah,
tiny.
yeah.
Um,
I
so
mean, when you see those adverts that are selling alcohol, I mean, I don't have a TV anymore, but sometimes you see them on the laptop and stuff like that, especially around Christmas. Those people that are drinking those drinks, they're so beautiful. They look like they've got the world is their oyster. They're just having such fun drinking these wonderful colored drinks and everything like that. But you think that's not the reality. That's what they're trying to sell us. Like if you drink these drinks, you too will be beautiful. And it's not, you feel like shit. It's such a scam. It's such a massive scam. It's like crazy.
it,
But I mean, people want excitement in their life. So maybe, to them, maybe it's easy just to, maybe that's what I did. I thought, oh, I'd have an exciting life, if I only drunk that drink. It'd make life so much more exciting. I guess we do think that, don't we? We think that, don't we?
oh yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah,
for me, all my social gatherings, whatever it was, with whoever it was alcohol was there. That's what I was thinking about. That was the main. That was the alcohol was the star of the show, really.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but it's horse shit. All
It is.
that, isn't it?
It is.
Really.
It's crazy. So do you, Coral, can I ask, if you don't have to tell me, but
No.
do you want to have another drink? Do you sometimes think, oh, I like to have a drink?
Not, this past 7 months has been relatively easy, to be
Yeah.
honest, because I've had lots of periods of sobriety, and I suppose I'm practicing, and maybe I'm getting better at it now. I don't know, but maybe there just comes a point in life where it's like enough. That is it now,
Yeah.
definitely. I won't ever get complacent though.
No.
What was your question again?
I was just wondering, how do you fancy having a drink sometimes? I just wondered.
Right. So sometimes out of the blue, I might just get a craving. But
Mm,
I've no intention of acting on it. I do not want to go back down that path again because I know, I have to know now, it's taken me long enough to get to this point, that if I have one drink, even if it was like today I had one drink, tomorrow
yeah.
I would want a drink even more. And
Yeah.
before I know it, I would be back on it every day because that's what's happened consistently over the years. There's no reason for me to think it's going to be any different.
Yeah.
So it might come into my mind if I'm feeling stressed or I don't know what that was. There's some difficult emotion, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
So,
No, I mean, I remember one thing they said, whoever I read something or saw something, someone said if you ever really get a craving, which to be honest with you, I haven't since I stopped, I haven't had a craving for alcohol.
uh,
But if you ever do this time, if you ever do get a craving, you play it back. So don't think of the first drink, think of the last drink and play it backwards. And that was one thing I was thinking that is so interesting because it isn't one drink, as you say. It might be one that night,
yeah,
but in 2 weeks' time, it will probably be five, that
yeah,
night sort of thing. Because once you've started, but it's because alcohol is addictive. So it's sending you all those messages to your brain. Oh, this is lovely. This
yeah,
is really nice. But then all sorts of chemical things are happening in your brain, like you're getting these almost euphoric feelings, but they only last for like 15 minutes to 30 minutes or something. And then cortisol hits in.
Uh-huh.
And then that's your stress hormone. And then it's saying, your brain's going, oh my God, what are you going to do? And that's when we reach for the next drink,
Yeah, yeah,
because we need to get back down to that equilibrium again.
that's
But
right. Yeah.
it's crazy what it's doing. It may really, because I've always been, I'm a, like I really fight for my freedoms and stuff like that. When I smoked, I used to smoke, and I used to think the thing that stopped me was like, it's like I'm a slave to it,
Yeah.
and I hate that kind of feeling of something controlling me. And I was definitely controlled by cigarettes, and then the same again with alcohol.
So you've not had any cravings. So
No.
when you stopped, was that just right, I'm stopping?
No, what I did was I entered into a challenge, a 30-day challenge, a 1 year no beer 30-day challenge, which I've just found online. I bought a book that went with it. And then with once you've signed up, you're allowed into their Slack, it's called. And then it's basically a forum of people that you can chat to.
Uh-huh.
And I've noted, like, quite like, I don't know, a couple of weeks in, I thought this 1 year no beer people, they're not my kind of people, like in the book.
Yeah.
But the Slack people, I just got so much support from them.
Okay.
And then you would also see their stories, like they might sort of like a message in the morning, go, oh, I had a drink last night, I feel like that. And it just reinforced, no, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that. And then when I sort of like was in this 1 year no beer, then I signed up for, the 30 days has come into an end, and I was finding it very interesting, and what was happening, and these people's stories, and all this new information I was finding out. And then I signed up for the next 30 days. So it became, but then I started to think, what's all this counting all the time? Because everybody went in the Slack going, oh, day one, or day 55, or day, and I was thinking, it's really weird. It's like we're counting down to something, but we're not supposed to be counting down to having a drink.
No.
So I thought, well, I don't like the counting bit. So I stopped counting. I thought, I'm definitely going to do a year, because I just think if you're going to do something, you should do it for the whole of the 4 seasons,
Yeah.
because so much happens over a year. Like
That's
you have all the birthdays, you've probably gone to you might have gone to a wedding, you might have gone to a funeral,
yeah.
you've gone on holiday. So you've been in all those places that you would normally have a drink over a course of a year. So it
Yeah.
makes sense to do a year.
Christmas
And
as
then,
well.
but while I was on there, I just want to say, because this might be helpful to people. Yeah, for me, it was. I came across this woman called Annie Grace, This Naked Mind. You know her?
I've just read the book.
Oh, really? Oh, that is fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
also William Porter, Alcohol Explained.
Okay.
Absolutely phenomenal bloke. He's just very much about the practicalities, what's going on in your mind, what's going on in your body, what's going on, why are you getting these triggers, these cravings. And Annie Grace, she's great for the emotional side, isn't she? And like being a woman, having that woman experience, and being a mother and all of that. Those two people were just really. And Annie Grace, doesn't she do, she used to do a 30-day thing for free.
I'm not sure.
I did sign up for it. I remember I did sign up for it, and she would give you like works and exercises you do every day and stuff like that. I really enjoyed that. But yeah, definitely I knew as I was going along, I was going to definitely do a year, even though I was like, just signing up for the 30 days, 60 days.
Uh-huh.
And then I knew I wasn't going to drink again. But it's hard to say it, isn't it? Like, I think sometimes it's hard to say, I'm never going to drink again. You
Well,
don't
yeah,
have to
never
say.
say never. It seems like
Yeah,
a long time, doesn't it? Really.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
which is maybe why I say one day at a time. If you've got that in your mind, then and it's
yeah.
who also say play the tape to the end. So the first
Okay.
drink, it's like, oh yeah, this feels great, but then think about where it's going to take you,
Mm,
because it's so easy to focus on that drink in that moment and sort of like forget about, oh, I could end up sleeping with somebody that I don't know, or I could end up in casualty, or I could,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So, but yes, Annie Grace, yeah,
Yeah.
I like, because basically she's talking about retraining the brain
Yeah.
to see alcohol as a bad thing. And she says you
Yeah.
need to be vigilant with that because obviously we're constantly bombarded.
Yeah.
Even when you've read the book, you're still going to go out there and there's still going to be messages that, oh, alcohol's so great, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Definitely.
you've got to
Definitely.
be vigilant. So you've had some insights and you feel you love yourself more now.
Oh,
You feel,
100%. Yeah, 100%. I mean, I wouldn't like I noticed like sometimes recently I've had an experience and with somebody that I did care about a lot actually, and he now sort of like questioning. But if I was drinking, I wouldn't have questioned, and I would have just been doing silly dramatic things all the time, and like probably crying and being really pathetic about it all. But I haven't. I've just been really kind of almost just looking at the facts and seeing what's going on and making a decision and sticking to it, not second guessing myself. Like I think when you drink, you're always like, oh, maybe I'm wrong. I'm not saying you stop saying that, but I definitely say it less. I mean, I just overthink everything anyway, which there's a good part of that. There's also a bad part of that. But now I'm just, yeah, no, I've made that decision. I'm sticking to it, and I feel good about that. That's definitely changed with me.
yeah,
And also you can see the signs of people trying to manipulate you so clearly. When you drink, you don't see it. You don't see all those messages they're sending you, like actual verbal things they're saying to you,
yeah,
like trying to undermine you. And like when you're present, and when you're sober and you've got that clear mind, you can see it, and you don't have to act on it, but you can see it, and then you can make a really informed decision about, do you want to be around this person, or how are you going to react to this person. Like when you drink, everything is about drama. It's all a big drama, isn't it? Like, and
yeah,
people sometimes don't know how to deal with you anymore. Certain people, they just don't know how to interact with you when you're not acting out like that through alcohol.
yeah.
It's very interesting. I have lost a lot of friends, I must say. Like, strangely, like one I noticed about a year ago. God, bloody hell, I haven't seen her for about 3 years. And it is really because when we used to meet up, we used to. I mean, it was always around a dinner table, but it was a lot of alcohol involved and stuff like that. And I just think I don't drink anymore, so it's hard for people sometimes to relate, isn't it? You know,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's funny that when you stop drinking, it's the only drug that people will say, "Oh, you're not drinking."
yeah,
I had somebody say to me, it was a children's birthday party, and people had beer, and I
yeah.
didn't have any, and he said, "Oh, I do feel sorry for you," and it's like you don't have to feel sorry for me because I'm not drinking.
Yeah,
If I'd stopped like snorting coke or injecting
yeah.
heroin, nobody'd say that, would they? It's
Oh, not at
fine.
all. They don't like it, but I mean, the thing is, more and more people, I think the younger generation are less and less drinking now. That's what I've heard. It's
Right.
like they're not asking. Apparently, the question they ask themselves is, "It worth it?"
Ah,
Which is very interesting because I never asked myself that, is it worth it?
no.
When in London, I live in London, and the girls around here, they've all got their bloody yoga kit on. They live in their yoga kit. And I'm thinking, they can't be getting up hungover going to yoga. Like, because I was thinking they've obviously got so much else going on in their lives. They want to do their exercise, and and it wouldn't be worth it, would it? You wouldn't want to go out and drink 2 bottles of wine, then have to get up and do yoga before you go
No,
to
no.
bed. Or whatever it is they do to make themselves look like they look. But yeah, so I think a lot younger people are questioning, which is a good thing, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ah,
But
so, yeah, thank you, Rachel, for joining me today.
yeah.
Even your voice of not in anything else, but yeah, it's been great talking to you.
Yeah, well, thank you and it's been great, really, like for me, even though I didn't really prepare anything, which I should have done, but I was really thinking about, the whole experience. I hadn't even like realized that when I was when my drinking got really bad, was I was kind of replicating what I was doing in my late teens, early 20s. All of a sudden, I was doing it again in my sort of late 30s, early 40s, and then up until my early 50s. So it was like, it was really interesting to think about it. And also, some quite painful things came up, which which I kind of pushed down as well, which I need to work on. And it's good that I felt that, and I thought, oh yeah, well, I really need to do something about that, because I kind of pushed it back. Yeah, so it's been really great for me as well. Thank you, Carol. Thanks, Carol.
You're
Coral.
not the first to call me Carol, and I'm sure you won't be the last.
All right then.
There's worse.
Anyway, your hair looks wonderful.
Oh
It
dear,
looks really, really good.
thank you.
You've got such a good face. You can't see mine. Mine's nicer than yours, but you've got a really good bone structure and everything. You can carry those haircuts off really easily. Really.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
And I love your channel. I liked your van life one, but you scrapped that. But but also like, really think what you're doing is such a wonderful thing for people, because and I know lots of people do these kind of videos and interviews and reflections and things like that. But I think the more the better, definitely.
Absolutely. It does
Yeah,
feel like a worthy cause, because
definitely.
alcohol is so destructive, isn't it?
So destructive. So
Um,
destructive.
yeah. So,
And it's not
okay.
worth it.
It's not at all. Not at all.
Have a good day. Yeah, rest of your day.
Yeah, and you. Thanks again, Rachel.
All right, take care. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye-bye. So thank you, Rachel, for coming on. It's unfortunate we couldn't get the video, but hopefully it hasn't taken too much away from the experience for people. So what I find interesting about listening to people's stories, even though they can be very different, the specifics are different, the details are different. Ultimately, the effect alcohol ends up having on people is negative. And you could look at Rachel and think, well, that's not so bad. You didn't end up losing your job or your family or your home or anything like that. So really, that, she might even be seen as quite normal in a sense, because weekend binging is so normal for a lot of people. So go to work all week, see it as a reward for their hard work all week, and then get blottoed for the weekend. And then, as Rachel said, it took her to the middle of the week to recover from that. And then she started the cycle again on Friday. And she realised, she got to the point that it was not a good place to be. And it was boring to do that, because it is boring. Her routine was the same every weekend. Having that battle of on a Friday, thinking, oh, I want to get some wine, but I know I'm going to feel like shit. But then giving in ultimately, because she didn't feel she had anything else in her life. And again, that's important to try and have a full life without alcohol being part of it. And alcohol's less likely to be part of it if you have got a full life. Because it's a big wide world out there, as I've said before. There's so many things you could do with your time. But she gave in and then spent the weekend not even enjoying her drinking, and then same routine on Monday, recovering, and just that went on. And that isn't that a boring routine and pattern to be in, but it's one that so many of us fall into. But you could, she said about how alcohol caused her to be in like abusive relationships. It causes us to be in lots of situations that are not good for us. It keeps us there, and it's like we always think, oh, it's helping this situation. And Rachel talks about a level of self-respect and self-love now that she wouldn't have had if she'd kept drinking. There's just so much to gain from stopping drinking and reframing alcohol in a different way is important, crucial in fact. So because she sees it in a different way now and feels angry towards it, like you would towards an abusive relationship, and that person who was abusive towards you, feeling angry, thinking, I'll never go back to that person. She's at that point where it's like, I'm not going to drink because I see it differently. And it's important to see it differently. But as I said, it's difficult in our society because of all the messages and images we're bombarded with on a daily basis. Alcohol's so good for you. It will make you successful and happy, and it's just a lie. It's just lies. It's all lies. But we're brainwashed from being tiny because it keeps you asleep as well. And kind of going off on a tangent, all it's relevant, the powers that be want to keep us asleep. They don't want people with a clear mind and a clear head who can think clearly and see clearly what's going on. If you keep people dumbed down, they're not going to stand up and say, hang on a minute, that's not right. It creates alcohol. It's not just alcohol, there's lots of things, but alcohol creates an apathy, maybe a resignation to things. Oh yeah, life's crap. Oh, well, at least I can get pissed at weekend. And that kind of smooths it over a little bit for a few days, but then those problems don't go away. That's the thing, these things don't go away. And alcohol doesn't make them go away. Not on a permanent basis anyway, so I'll shut up now. But thank you. If you've stuck to the end, brilliant. Thanks so much. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe and all that malarkey. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.